Well, this certainly wasn't on my bingo card. After leaving behind an absolutely mangled Chapter 6 map that started off beautiful, but was then left begging to be put out of its misery, we're now in the middle of what is essentially a successor to both the Simpsons game and the Simpsons Hit and Run. Hey look, it's that Simpsons Hit and Run sequel we've all been waiting for. And it was a very strange road getting to this season that began long before we saw Jonesy and Hope get that yellow skin treatment. So many months ago, I think this was like around the start of Season 3 in Chapter 6. Because when the leaks first began surfacing that the next mini-season to conclude Chapter 6 was gonna be Simpsons themed, everyone, including myself, let out a collective sigh.
What?
Like, I'm not sure if I've ever seen a season get this much hate even before being revealed. But there were reasons to be skeptical, like it's 2020 and the gang is playing Among Us all over again. So firstly, the novel idea of a Simpsons season just seemed kinda dumb at the time. Now like, to be clear, I have nothing against everyone's favorite yellow family.
I don't have friends, I got family.
I mean, they put out some banger video games, of course. Simpsons game, Hit and Run. But it just kinda left me wondering, how do you make a season themed around a sitcom that barely involves gunfighting or all-out warfare or anything like that? Star Wars at least made sense, it's in the name after all. Secondly, Galactic Battle in hindsight was not a bright 100-watt light bulb for the community. They tried it, they didn't like it, it just wasn't a very good first impression for the concept of mini-seasons in general. I said it myself when I reviewed Galactic Battle, sort of. It got old pretty quickly. And I was kind of thinking the same thing could happen to the Simpsons season, maybe even worse, because the Simpsons season seemed like it made even less sense, like the storyline of Transformers The Last Night. And thirdly, Chapter 6 was slowing down. Hard. This was one of those times in Fortnite's history where people were burning out the game en masse, including myself admittedly, like a scene where the entire city was plunging into a blackout. I'm not sure I'd blame Chapter 6 itself for this issue. I've been playing this game for over 7 years now. Objectively, I think this chapter was very well done. The map on launch? I thought that was the best map Fortnite had ever seen. And that feels like something of an achievement in my eyes, cause I'd been the #1 fan of Chapter 3's map for years. This is like King's Knighting kinda deal how I've praised Chapter 6's map so far. At least until the Xenos invaded. But even with how great Chapter 6 was objectively, I've struggled to invest into it personally or emotionally like I did with Chapter 3 or Chapter 2 Remix. Chapter 6 Season 3? You can make an argument that was a goated season, and I wouldn't disagree. I thought it was a good season, but I don't really care that much about it looking back. I kinda felt the same way with Season 4, even with that season being decent on its best days, after it wasn't infested with sweats or medallions during the first week. So I took this growing tinge of apathy as a sign that I just kinda need to take a step back from playing the game for a while. And given that my expectations for the Simpsons season were already in the Mariana Trench, though at least it would only be a month long, I was okay with that. I still have a whole backlog of games and movies to go through that I haven't watched or played yet. To put it short, this Simpsons season had a lot to prove even long before it was ready to climb over the horizon. However, I would keep an open mind still. After all, I remember I had similar doubts about the first Marvel season once upon a time, Chapter 2 Season 4, and that season actually ended up in the pantheon of my all-time favorites. So I would be open to the possibility that the Simpsons season could surprise me. Now that we're on the eve of Chapter 7, it's time to answer the question, did the Simpsons season surprise me? This season ain't just your cheap Walmart Simpsons reskin like how Galactic Battle was a Star Wars reskin of Chapter 6, because this time around, the pacing is a little different from before because we are now on an entirely new map that only just barely squeezes out the W over a reload map in terms of size, so it's a bit smaller than a Battle Royale map. There are only 80 players in one game this time around, as opposed to the old reliable triple digit. And there are only 9 POIs as opposed to, how many did Chapter 6 start with again? I'm pretty sure it was double this. This results in games feeling a bit tired most of the time, because despite the lesser amount of players, you'll find very little dead space in between every fight. This was something that Chapter 6's map absolutely struggled with like a couch potato because of its huge size. Gameplay aside though, just look at this map!
There's your Christmas up there.
It's a miracle.
The first thing you'll notice, aside from the new intro, is it's all cel shaded now. And strangely, you can actually get used to it after a little while, which I think says a lot about how far Epic's cel shading secret formula has come since the OG Lexa days.
16 times the detail.
The map also features a lot of iconic locations from the show, such as the Simpsons house because why not, the nuclear plant which has plenty of loot, the town square, the Burns Manor, which unfortunately doesn't have a big driveway for you to drive through this time around, and more. The actual boots on the ground experience once you land on the map isn't very different from the usual formula on the surface, but there are a lot of gags and Easter eggs from throughout the show's history that you can find, some of which aren't just for show. There are little things like the rakes scattered everywhere, and the incredibly well-crafted signs and posters that you just gotta admire.
I just think they're neat.
You can even do your own couch gag in the Simpsons house. Then there are bigger and wackier things. There are lost and found quests that you can either find in chests or by talking to NPCs. All you gotta do is a quick little quest and you'll get something pretty good to get you set on your journey.
Aw, $20. I wanted a peanut. $20 can buy many peanuts. Explain how. Money can be exchanged for goods and services.
You can also find several Simpsons characters on the map that you can fight, such as Moe, Witch Marge, Evil Homer, Krusty, etc. Most of them will drop mythic variants of weapons already present in the loot pool. Krusty, however, in particular, will drop an exotic variant of a mind-boggling weapon that I will get into later. There are also these donut storms that you can find in the layer circles. And these things are no joke, by the way.
Oh no.
Oh, what the f-
I don't know who just did that, but probably say
Oh, what the fuck?
Oh, he's dead. Oh no.
That just demolished my car instantly!
How long does this
What
thing
the heck?
last?
Come on.
That's what happened to- Oh, god damn it!
Oh, we love random bullshit gameplay loop.
That went right over you.
The physics.
Oh, 3 people left. You can find plenty of chests in them as well. Homer Clone Slayer started appearing towards the end of the season along with these purple floating donuts, and also these contaminated rivers that gave you dashes just like the underworld in Chapter 5. Destroying these purple donuts will give you one of the 4 new mythic weapons, all based on weapons not in the base loot pool. The cel shaded paint jobs are probably the most interesting thing about them gameplay wise. Other cool gags include Lard Lad's Donut doing its best 2013 Miley Cyrus impression. I'd put the song in as a joke, but damn you, copyright. You can do Homer's job better than himself at the control panel in the nuclear plant for more loot. Mr. Burns releasing the hounds either at his mansion or at the nuclear plant.
Release the hounds.
And probably more things that I didn't mention. Epic has clearly put in a lot of love and care into a map that unfortunately will only be around for a month. So hopefully we'll get to return and reload someday. Unlike Galactic Battle, which was all Star Wars weapons or nothing, The Simpsons instead opted for a more conventional loot pool with classic weapons from all eras from Fortnite's history. And where better to start with than...
You're as beautiful as the day I lost you.
That's right, bitches! My beloved infantry rifle is back, and still kicking ass at distance like the good old days, and without being cheap like those virgin red dots. I got a nitpick though, they made the thing full auto.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
It seems like a pretty silly change since it goes against the design of the weapon, but not at all a detrimental one because thankfully every other stat has been left unchanged. It's far from the worst thing Epic has done to a beloved weapon. Do you remember what they did to the heavy sniper all those years ago? Also, side note, hopefully someday they'll take that original purple gold design and recycle it into a new weapon like what they did with the Striker Burst rifle. I would love to see that. There's also the suppressed assault rifle, which has become shockingly accurate since its last radio in the loot pool, and also a reworked striker assault rifle, which is now hit scan, has reduced damage, and a built-in angled foregrip, and while it's probably the weakest of the three here, I mean, it still works. The assault rifle selection overall is a nice change of pace from Chapter 6. Building on both Super and the launch of Shock and Awesome, both loot pools that didn't feature any red dots, this is the most fun one can have using weapons at long range in a while without needing a red dot. For SMGs, there's a remastered compact SMG and the machine pistol. Finally, some decent competition for the machine pistol. Unlike both the pre-nerf Stinger SMG and the Twin Mag, both SMGs that absolutely murdered the machine pistol back in the day, the new compact SMG isn't much more accurate than the machine pistol, so you're looking at a pretty even competition here for once. I'm not calling it that, it looks dumb. The shotgun meta is pretty standard stuff. You've got the Thunder shotgun taking the pump roll, the old classic tactical shotgun, and the Ranger shotgun for people who think they can get away.
Oh, beyond.
Yep, quite a few people. Oh, I just get two of them in one shot. The suppressed pistol is also present here as the main sidearm, but I feel like it's been getting more use as an SMG in this meta. And now for the star of the show, Mr. Blasty. And this thing is absolutely wild. It's got insane damage to boot, so that's one thing. But because it also has such tight hipfire accuracy, you can easily run and gun with this thing and land those 50 plus body shots like it's another day in the office. Especially with that really quick fire rate. Oh, did I also mention this thing does like 90 plus headshot damage? This thing feels amazing to use. Definitely a Sigma grinder in this loot pool.
Hot stuff coming through.
But, unlike the Wrecker Revolver from last season, Mr. Blasty does all of this without being cheap. Like you still feel like you're working for and earning these kills, rather than these kills just being given to you for free.
Right, let's test out this pistol.
Hey.
Is it different? Okay, yeah, it's just a typical quest. Typical weekly quest.
Oh! Yeah, that revolver's crazy, bro. That revolver's crazy.
What?
Yeah, that revolver's crazy.
What? What did I? What happened?
He's trying out Yeah, no, that revolver is a little crazy. Can aim with it.
What the? Then there's also the exotic one that you can get from Krusty, which will tie anyone up to a balloon if the first bullet lands near them, even yourself and your teammates. That balloon has a lot of different use cases whether you're the sender or receiver. We're talking mobility, turning enemies into free shooting galleries, pulling an Obi-Wan Kenobi,
I have the high ground.
inventing flying cars. This is a very flexible sandbox tool that not only can make fights a bit wackier and more interesting, but it can also reward teamwork and coordination if you know what you're doing. There have also been a lot of other goofy Simpsons weapons that have been added over the course of this season. The Cobalt Slingshot is a stink launcher that actually does more damage than I expected when you get a direct hit. I can imagine this being a useful support weapon in squad modes, but not exactly an alpha weapon of choice. The Deodorant Applicator is a new kind of ray gun. I always liked using the ray gun back in Chapter 2 Season 7 to tickle people from halfway across the map. This one can't do that anymore.
Watch this, Lise. You can actually pinpoint the second when his heart rips in half.
No! That aside though, it's still pretty fun to use. It's also got a few damage buffs, and I love how you look when both equipping and overheating it. And here's a gun that's been modified by Mo a little bit into 5 guns.
And that's how, with a few minor adjustments, you can turn a regular gun into 5 guns.
I'm not really sure how to describe the experience of using this thing. There also isn't a lot of mobility in this loot pool. All you have are shockwave grenades and the cartoon chainsaw, which makes you look pretty funny when you run. This ensures that people can't run away from you so easily for once, a problem that plagued Chapter 6 like the Flood. But now you also gotta pay better attention to the zone and also be more wise with your movements. There's also Jebediah's Protective Helm, which you can find at the town square and will protect you from 1 headshot before falling off. It also reveals you on the map even though it's not a medallion. I only saw this being used once or twice at the start of the season. Interestingly, there are no snipers in this loot pool whatsoever. Now I know Epic has had like a second nature evolved from snipers for years now, so that's probably why. But I feel like it might also have to do with how small the map is in this particular instance.
I think
No,
in
they totally
IQ,
are.
I think IQ wise, Twitter's slightly smarter, but that's like comparing one pile of dog shit to it. Compared to like one pile of dog shit to another pile of dog shit.
Servers.
Bullshit. Oh, lovely.
Are you fucking kidding me? I just took fall damage. I just took fall damage even though I was on a zip line. Another thing that I actually really like is how significant the season has been to the Fortnite story, and for several reasons. Firstly, it's a collab season involving the Simpsons. You'd think the sun would have collapsed in on itself before the Simpsons would get so involved in the story like this. Secondly, Fortnite's story has been sitting in the mausoleum for a while.
Linguo! Dead?
Linguo is dead.
Now, we did have Chapter 5 acting as a soft reboot that involved Epic's own spoof of the Taken movies.
If you are looking for ransom, I can tell you I don't have money. But what I do have are a very particular set of skills. Skills I have acquired over a very long career. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you.
And the God of War trilogy.
Zeus! Your son has returned! Zeus! Your son has returned! I come seeking the Zeus! Your son has returned! Zeus! Your son has returned! I come seeking the weed of Olympus! Kratos, you will not get a hit from the cabbage.
But after all that, it's just been a bunch of spaghetti hoopla.
I like men now.
Look, I'm not some story aficionado. Go ask someone like Risun or Top 5 Gaming. I don't fucking know. That said though, Fortnite's story is starting to pick up steam again, especially with the 7 all but confirmed to return in Chapter 7. But I wasn't expecting the Simpsons of all things to get so heavily involved in that. You got one last alien invasion to close out last season by taking us to Springfield Island where we are now. And you got Homer out here with an interdimensional TV remote doing with it what he does best, being stupid.
Everyone is stupid except me.
Plus, the story is actually progressing through small episodes released every week that actually feel like fully fledged Simpsons episodes, rather than just little tidbits of NPC dialogue that you have to go out of your way to find. Like, this whole bit of the Fortnite storyline feels very in line with The Simpsons, which is cool.
What the fuck was that?
Now, I've never actually brought up the story in previous seasons that I've talked about, but it feels important to mention here because Homer's shenanigans are directly influencing a lot of the weird and wacky stuff in the season that I just talked about. In terms of skins, well, obviously the Battle Pass is all Simpsons characters, as well as a Simpsons themed Peely, and there are also a few others in the item shop like Lisa, Scratchy and Moe, but that doesn't mean we've been completely devoid of new original skins. As for which ones I like, I don't know, I guess the F1 skins, because they're racing related. I might as well mention we got the Ferrari F40 in this season, because it's the F40, it's the most legendary Ferrari of all time. I'll give Constable Sprinkled an honorable mention because while she might not be the kind of skin I'd use, I'm glad she exists because it shows that Epic can still get creative with female skins if they want. She's broken the 3 musketeers of skin design. She's a goofy female skin, she's a female skin without a crop top, and she's also a cop skin. We haven't seen any of those in a while. If you want to know what's been happening outside of the Springfield Island, not much. I think the most significant thing was Brick Life also being Simpsons themed, where you can do quests for various Simpsons characters to earn a Simpsons Lego set. The new intro was pretty cool as well. Oh yeah, there was also a Stranger Things themed Blitz Royale map. So all things considered, yeah, the Simpsons season did surprise me. Now I wouldn't put it in the Bloody Legends tier with the likes of Season 9 or Chapter 2 Remix, but it's clear that Epic have taken a lot of lessons to heart from their last go around in the kitchen with Galactic Battle. Now it just feels kinda silly looking back in hindsight at how much we doubted it. Because if you think about it, the Simpsons team actually motivated the gameplay to be as crazy and wacky as it was. It made me remember with just how much fun this season actually was because of all that crazy shit. It all goes back to the idea that Fortnite is at its best when it's not taking itself seriously. If you look back at Chapter 1, that was when Fortnite used to be called that goofy battle royale for kids. And that was for a reason. The game had all these weird and wacky weapons and utilities in addition to the usual Call of Duty loadout, and that vibe alongside the unique innovation of building made it stand out from stuff like PUBG and Warzone. Remember when Fortnite used to be compared to those and not Roblox? Those were good days. After Chapter 1 ended though, Fortnite started to lose that cartoonish edge and became a more serious game in general. Not only did we stop seeing so many weird and wacky weapons, but over time that serious edge also started to bleed into the art direction. Think about it, what do you think the Rocket Ram would have looked like if it came out in Chapter 1? Also, just look at how bland the Chapter 5 weapons look. I think the successes of Season OG, Chapter 2 Remix, and the Simpsons season, which either pay homage to Fortnite's goofier days or take inspiration from wacky pop culture, really nails the point home that Fortnite is at its best when it's that weird, goofy game for kids. And I hope Chapter 7 can replicate that vibe more often again. Chapter 6 was a step in the right direction after dealing with Chapter 5, which was more Call of Duty than anything, except for no giant boss fights. But it didn't quite lead in far enough to the weird world to be particularly memorable outside of its map, so hopefully Chapter 7 will.